This is fantastic because I am doing this for the ASVAB preparation of the mathematics knowledge test. And I actually just did this today in my summer school class for 8th grade. So this is perfect. I do have a lot of videos on how to do these on my playlist on graphing inequalities. This is inequality. It's actually on just inequalities, I do believe. It might say graphing inequalities. I'm not 100% sure. But these are really super simple if you just pay attention to the words and if you remember what they all mean and how to do it. So the first thing you're going to want to know is when you are graphing inequalities, and these are just 4 examples of how to do these, when you are seeing the inequality symbols, the greater than or less than symbol, which does not have a line underneath it. So those are these ones right here. What this means is that when you're graphing on the number line, you're going to do what's called an open circle, which looks like that. So you just have like a big open circle. You'll see in a minute what I mean when you look at it. Now, if you have a symbol like this, but with the line under it, that means that it can be greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So it can equal that number as well. And that is what's called a closed circle. So what you do is you put a closed dot like that. So this is super duper important to make sure you remember, because if you're given choices on a problem, you'll be able to eliminate at least 2 options probably, because if there's 4 options, you're going to have ones with open and closed circles. So you'll be able to help yourself knock things out if you need to. All right, so let's go up here to these problems. So these 2 are greater than or less than signs, no line, which means both of these are going to be open circles when I graph them. So that's the first thing. So this one is x. If you're reading this out, x is greater. The mouth eats the greater number. So x is greater than 2. So that's what that's telling me. So if I'm looking at this number line over here, I see the number 2. I'm going to put an open circle, as I just said. It's open because you want to make sure it looks like it's open too. You don't want it to look like it's closed if you have to draw it, but it's nice and open right here. Now x is greater than 2. So a number greater than 2 would be 3. Or 4 or 5, so your arrow would be pointing in this direction. What this just means is that multiple answers are possible for these. Now, if we look at the next one, it says x, and then this is pointing, like the point part is towards the x. So that means that the -1 is actually greater. So this is saying x is less than -1. So again, it's going to be less than, so it's an open circle at the -1. So you're going to put an open circle right here. And if it's a number less than -1, numbers less than -1 would be like -10, -9, -8, all of those numbers that are this direction. So you'd put an arrow that way. Now when we look at the other 2, x is greater than or equal to 2. So now it can be equal to it. So that means I'm going to put a closed circle on it. So I'm going to go to 2, put a closed circle. So here's going to be a nice filled in circle. And then x is greater than 2. So again, it's going to be pointing in this direction because any number that's greater than 2 is going to be this way. And then that last one, the same thing. So x is less than or equal to -1. So it is going to be a closed circle again at -1. And then that's going to be the same type of thing. So that when you are looking at it, numbers less than -1 would be more negative numbers. And a really nice trick with these, which is tricky if you are not paying attention, notice that the x on this is always on the left-hand side. So the trick is if x, or the variable that you have, is on the left-hand side, this is pointing the direction in which the arrow should be pointing in. Now this only works when x is over on the left-hand side. So if it's over here, that doesn't work. So you do have to pay attention to that. So one thing is best is to probably just say it out loud or like in your head. What is this inequality saying? And then that will help you to determine which way you're pointing the arrow on your number line. And if you want more questions like this, like I said, these are found in the ASVAB prep test portion of my playlist, but there's a whole bunch of these that you can look at graphing inequalities in my YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at YouWantAlgebra. Don't forget to like, share, and follow me for more.